Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Eleanor and today I want to do a little review of Year One by Nora Roberts. Nora Roberts is an author who for a long time I thought I wouldn't like a lot of her books, if that makes sense. My mum is a big lover of Nora Roberts and I've always just assumed that because a lot of what my mum likes is it's like contemporary like romance and things like that. She does like some fantasy things, but usually that's what she kind of reads, and I just incorrectly assumed that that's mostly what Nora Roberts is. I've read one trilogy by Nora Roberts before, and it was the Morrigan's Cross trilogy, which I've done a review on before, and I'll leave linked below. I incorrectly assumed that that was a kind of one-off for this author. That's about magic and vampires and all sorts of things like that, supernatural, and I kind of just thought it was like a kind of one-off. Obviously my mum has since dissuaded me and told me that no, she writes mostly kind of light fantasy romance, and romance isn't really a genre that I gravitate towards, and the only times I read it and enjoy it is when there's a whole other element involved, something fantastical or such like that. So that's what made me pick up Year One. When I read the description of Year One, I was actually quite excited. This is a dystopian and it's set in the middle of a pandemic that takes over the world, and after everyone develops magic and everyone changes. This maybe wasn't the best book to pick up at this time because we're currently living through a global pandemic, but there was something about reading a book that was so totally different, and the fact that this pandemic kills billions of people and those left over develop magic, which obviously didn't happen to us. So it was quite nice, and it took away the kind of fear and uncomfortable feelings you can have right now because of the situation we're living in. And like, this book had it so much worse. That doesn't mean to say that this might not be the right kind of book for you to read right now if you're affected by things like that and don't like reading dystopian in general. But I really like this book. It's a very easy read. I find Nora Roberts' writing style just really accessible. I just enjoy the way she words things and the way everything flows, and I like the way she writes her characters. Everyone had very distinct voices. The main character, Lana, is just a really good voice in the story. So it starts off, you start off in Scotland, which is quite nice. So that's the epicenter of this pandemic is in Scotland, which is amusing. And it's just quite a nice light start. People start getting ill and it spreads across the globe within like 3 or 4 days, and it is catastrophic. And then you meet a few different viewpoints and you follow their stories in the very, very beginning of this pandemic. Some kind of dystopian stories, like you get a little bit of an introduction and it time jumps till further down the road. But I like that it kind of followed the characters through the initial stages, so it's like comprehending what's going on, the gathering of supplies, the trying to hunker down or trying to travel. I just thought it was like a really interesting way to go with it. I liked how the characters were developing magic and how there's elves and fae, and there's shapeshifters, and there's like witches and warlocks and things like that, and there's also a dark presence as well. So it's not just about the pandemic and these people surviving after the fact. There's now a great evil in this world that came with it, and the good and evil have to fight, obviously, because it wouldn't be a story like that without it. So I think it's quite an interesting mix, because normally, or I've not seen many like dystopians like cross that kind of gap. So it's like it's set current day in our world. It's like urban fantasy, but it's about a dystopian story about a pandemic, but there's supernatural elements to it as well. So it's kind of like across several genres at once. It is a romance, and I just really enjoyed it. I found it a really quick read. I've seen some people say that it was maybe a bit too slow, in the beginning. But I like that. I like the setup. You got to know these characters, you got to develop with them, and it's this just slow plodding of humanity trying to continue after. I'm trying not to spoil this too much. The only thing that I found a little bit frustrating was something happens 60 pages from the end, and so much happens in that last 60 pages that it's not even funny. So it's not like the last 60 pages are just like the climax of the story and you get like your cliffhanger for the sequel. Just so much happened, and it just felt really disjointed. That there was this kind of slow-paced book, and then so much happened in the last 60 pages. I just thought it was such a waste, because it's a fairly decent length book. Like, how long is it? Yeah, it's like just over 400 pages, and I felt like the first 300 pages were really well paced, and I thought I kind of knew where the story was going. So on one hand, it was nice that it's this flip and change, and you're surprised by what's happened. I just found it a bit frustrating that so much changed. I'm obviously trying not to spoil it, but you follow the certain characters, you kind of know where they're going, and then the last section is just a total blinder. So I was a bit frustrated by that, but I am interested to see where this thing continues on, and for the first time in a long time I immediately bought the sequel, and it's coming in a couple of days from Waterstones, and I'm excited to continue on and read the sequel. And I'm feeling that there might be a time jump now, because I feel like the evil needs to set some roots down and some progression needs to happen before we kind of continue on. So I feel like there will be a time jump. But overall, I had a great time reading this, and I think a lot of people forget when they're reading that it is just about having fun, and it doesn't always have to be taken so seriously. So this is one of those books that maybe other people won't like it because it maybe comes across as a bit ridiculous, and the matching up of the genres maybe doesn't work for them, or it was too slow, or it was alien and all these other things. But it hit me right, and all these things came together, and I just had a great time reading it. So if any of this sounds interesting to you, I would encourage you to pick it up and give it a go. And let me know if you have read this series, or if you've read Nora Roberts in general, if you've got any other series by her that you would recommend and think I would like, as long as they're not too heavily focused on the romance and it's more all-encompassing with the other fantastical elements of the story. I would be really interested to hear your recommendations. So that's it. Oh, one more thing. It's not a critique on this book in particular. It's just something I've noticed over time with like zombie books and things like that. Well, it's not really a zombie book, but like dystopian books in general. I think it's really funny how everyone across the world like appropriates the same name for the thing that's happened. Like in this book, it's called the Doom, and the magical people are called the Uncanny, but everyone they encounter knows this name and this reference. And I just think it's always dead funny. Like a few other zombie books I've read, like they're called Walkers, or I can't think of anything else off the top of my head right now, but everyone knows the same name, and there's never really instances of people going up and saying, oh, it's a zombie, or no, it's a walker, oh, we have different names, and there's never that conversation. And it's just something that I thought of when I finished this yesterday, that obviously it needs to happen within a book like that, because it would be too confusing if it didn't, but it's just something I've noticed, that everyone has the same name for everything, which isn't really how things like that happen, especially in dystopian books when all lines of communication are usually gone so quickly. It's just something I noticed, and I thought was quite funny. Now it is definitely the end of the video, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.